Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so you won't miss our future videos. Before heading into your upcoming SSIS developer interview, take some time to review these top 50 SQL Server Integration Services, SSIS, developer interview questions and answers. Make sure you understand each question thoroughly and can articulate a confident answer. Consider practicing your responses out loud or with a friend to increase your comfort level and reduce anxiety. Remember to tailor your answers to reflect your own experiences and highlight your strengths. Good luck with your interview. Let's get started. What is SSIS?
SQL Server Integration Services, SSIS, is a powerful data integration tool from Microsoft that allows you to extract, transform, and load data between different sources and destinations. It provides a graphical user interface to create complex workflows and ETL processes with ease.
What are the key components of an SSIS solution?
An SSIS solution consists of several key components including control flow, data flow, event handlers, connection managers, variables, expressions, and log providers. Each component plays a specific role in creating a successful ETL process.
Can you explain what control flow is used for in SSIS?
The control flow is used to define the sequence of tasks or containers that need to be executed as part of an SSIS package. These tasks include execute SQL tasks, script tasks, for loop containers, for each loop containers, and many more.
How does SSIS handle data transformation?
SSIS uses the data flow task to perform data transformations. This task includes various components such as source, transformation, and destination components that help to extract, manipulate, and load data into target systems.
What is the difference between slowly changing dimensions SCD types 1 and 2?
SCD Type 1 updates existing records without keeping track of historical changes, while SCD Type 2 creates new versions of records whenever there is a change, maintaining a history of all previous versions.
How do you debug an SSIS package?
You can use the built-in debugging tools available in Visual Studio, such as breakpoints, watch windows, call stack, and locals windows, to identify issues within your SSIS packages. Additionally, you can also run the package in debug mode to step through each task and container.
How do you handle errors in SSIS?
SSIS has built-in error handling mechanisms like on error, on warning, and on information events that allow developers to capture and respond to errors during execution. Developers can configure these events at both the package level and container level.
What is the purpose of using checkpoints in SSIS?
Checkpoints enable SSIS to save the state of a running package before it fails due to any reason. When the package is restarted, it resumes processing from where it left off instead of starting over again.
What is the difference between full load and incremental load?
A full load loads all the data from the source system to the destination system regardless of whether it exists already or not. An incremental load only loads newly added or updated data since the last time it was loaded.
How do you deploy an SSIS project?
To deploy an SSIS project, you first build the project to generate an ISPAC file. Then, you use either the SQL Server Management Studio, SSMS, Deployment Wizard or PowerShell templates to publish the project to a specified server.
How do you retrieve data from a flat file source in SSIS?
To retrieve data from a flat file source in SSIS, you can add a flat file source component to the data flow task and configure its properties according to the format of the input file.
How do you perform lookup operations in SSIS?
Lookup operations can be performed by adding a lookup transform component to the data flow task. This component enables you to match incoming rows against a reference dataset and return matching values.
How do you merge two datasets in SSIS?
Merge operations can be performed by adding a merge join transform component to the data flow task. This component combines two sorted inputs based on a common column to produce a merged output.
How do you sort data in SSIS?
Sorting can be done by adding a sort transform component to the data flow task. This component sorts the input data based on one or multiple columns defined by the developer.
How do you split data in SSIS?
Splitting can be achieved by adding a conditional split transform component to the data flow task. This component routes rows to different outputs based on conditions defined by the developer.
How do you aggregate data in SSIS?
Aggregating data can be accomplished by adding an aggregate transform component to the data flow task. This component performs statistical functions such as sum, average, count, etc., on groups of rows.
How do you audit and log activities in SSIS?
Auditing and logging activities can be implemented by configuring event handlers and log providers in SSIS. These features enable developers to record information about package executions and troubleshoot issues when necessary.
How do you manage configurations in SSIS?
Configurations in SSIS can be managed by storing configuration settings in external files, databases, environment variables, or registry keys. By doing so, developers can modify package behavior dynamically without changing code.
How do you automate SSIS package deployment?
Automated SSIS package deployment can be achieved by writing scripts using PowerShell or other scripting languages. These scripts leverage the SQL Server Agent job scheduler or other scheduling tools to automate package execution.
How do you optimize performance in SSIS?
Performance optimization techniques in SSIS include minimizing data transfers, parallelizing data flows, avoiding row-by-row processing, and leveraging caching strategies such as cache transform and lookup transform. Optimization requires careful analysis of bottlenecks and testing to ensure optimal performance.
How do you implement transaction management in SSIS?
Transaction management can be enabled in SSIS by setting the appropriate transaction options at the package or container level. This ensures that all database transactions are rolled back if any operation fails.
How do you validate data in SSIS?
Validating data can be achieved by adding a data viewer component to the data flow task. This component displays real-time data flowing through the pipeline and helps developers detect invalid or unexpected data early on.
How do you convert data types in SSIS?
Converting data types can be done by adding a data conversion transform component to the data flow task. This component converts data types of input columns to desired data types.
How do you derive calculated fields in SSIS?
Deriving calculated fields can be achieved by adding a derived column transform component to the data flow task. This component calculates new columns based on expressions defined by the developer.
How do you filter data in SSIS?
Filtering data can be done by adding a row filter transform component to the data flow task. This component filters out unwanted rows based on criteria defined by the developer.
How do you pivot data in SSIS?
Pivoting data can be achieved by adding a pivot transform component to the data flow task. This component rotates rows into columns based on a specified column value.
How do you unpivot data in SSIS?
Unpivoting data can be achieved by adding an unpivot transform component to the data flow task. This component flattens columns into rows based on a specified set of columns.
How do you customize SSIS components?
Customizing SSIS components can be achieved by developing custom C# or VB.NET scripts and integrating them into the pipeline using the script component.
How do you version control SSIS projects?
Version controlling SSIS projects can be done by saving the project files under a version control system such as Git or SVN. This approach ensures traceability and accountability throughout the development lifecycle.
How do you migrate DTS packages to SSIS?
Migrating DTS packages to SSIS can be achieved by using the SQL Server Migration Assistant for Upgrade Advisor. This tool scans the legacy DTS packages and generates corresponding SSIS packages automatically. However, manual intervention may still be required to fine-tune certain aspects of the migration process.
How do you execute SSIS packages programmatically?
Executing SSIS packages programmatically can be done by using the Microsoft.SQL Server Management.Integration Services namespace in .NET applications. This approach enables developers to start, stop, and monitor package execution remotely.
How do you schedule SSIS package executions?
Scheduling SSIS package executions can be achieved by using the SQL Server Agent Job Scheduler, which comes bundled with every SQL Server installation. Alternatively, third-party scheduling tools such as Jenkins, TeamCity, or Azure DevOps can be used.
How do you secure sensitive data in SSIS?
Securing sensitive data in SSIS can be done by encrypting connection strings, passwords, and other confidential information using protected configurations. Protected configurations store encryption keys in separate files or servers, ensuring maximum security.
How do you back up and restore SSIS catalogs?
Backing up and restoring SSIS catalogs can be achieved by using the tsql backup and restore commands. These commands enable administrators to take full or partial backups of the SSIS-DB catalog and recover it later in case of failures.
How do you integrate SSIS with SharePoint?
Integrating SSIS with SharePoint can be done by using the Business Connectivity Services feature in SharePoint. This feature connects to external data sources via OData feeds and enables users to interact with the data directly from SharePoint lists.
How do you integrate SSIS with Hadoop?
Integrating SSIS with Hadoop can be achieved by installing the Microsoft HD Insight SDK for .NET. This SDK provides native support for working with Hive, Pig, Scoop, and other big data platforms hosted on Apache Hadoop clusters.
How do you integrate SSIS with Salesforce?
Integrating SSIS with Salesforce can be achieved by using the Force.com connector provided by Kingswaysoft. This connector enables bidirectional synchronization between Salesforce objects and relational databases.
How do you monitor SSIS package executions?
Monitoring SSIS package executions can be done using the integrated monitoring capabilities of the SQL Server Management Studio, SSMS. Administrators can view detailed logs, traces, and metrics related to package executions and diagnose issues quickly.
How do you troubleshoot SSIS package failures?
Troubleshooting SSIS package failures involves analyzing detailed logs, tracing runtime events, and identifying bottlenecks in resource utilization. Tools such as SSMS, Profiler, and extended events can aid in this process.
How do you maintain SSIS solutions?
Maintaining SSIS solutions involves implementing best practices around documentation, naming conventions, modularity, reusability, and version control. Regular maintenance checks, audits, and refactoring efforts help keep SSIS solutions performing optimally and adapting to evolving business needs.
How do you import or export data using SSIS?
Importing and exporting data using SSIS can be achieved using the source and destination components in the data flow task. Common examples include copying tables between databases, moving data from text files to databases, and vice versa.
How do you partition data in SSIS?
Partitioning data in SSIS can be done using the partition processing transformation component. This component divides large fact tables into smaller subsets based on predefined rules, enabling faster query times and reduced storage costs.
How do you update statistics in SSIS?
Updating statistics in SSIS can be done using the Execute SQL task component. This component runs T-SQL statements to update index statistics, allowing SQL Server's Query Optimizer to make better decisions regarding join orders, table access methods, and selectivity estimates.
How do you load balanced SSIS executions?
Load balancing SSIS executions can be achieved by distributing workloads across multiple machines or nodes. Techniques include horizontal scaling, parallelism, and distributed computing frameworks such as Apache Spark or Flink.
How do you deal with slow-changing dimensions in SSIS?
Dealing with slow-changing dimensions in SSIS can be achieved using the slowly changing dimension transformation component. This component identifies slowly changing dimension scenarios and applies appropriate actions such as insert, update, or delete.
How do you implement incremental loading in SSIS?
Implementing incremental loading in SSIS can be achieved using the conditional split and lookup transform components. These components compare current and previously processed records, filter out duplicates, and apply relevant transformations accordingly.
How do you implement fuzzy matching in SSIS?
Implementing fuzzy matching in SSIS can be done using the fuzzy grouping and fuzzy lookup transform components. These components apply advanced algorithms to find similarities in data sets even when they contain spelling mistakes, typos, or missing values.
How do you implement error reporting in SSIS?
Implementing error reporting in SSIS can be done using the send mail task and expression components. These components send email alerts containing detailed error messages, stack traces, and diagnostic information to designated recipients.
How do you profile SSIS solutions?
Profiling SSIS solutions involves measuring their performance characteristics and identifying areas requiring improvement. Techniques include benchmarking, stress testing, capacity planning, and simulating production environments.
How do you improve SSIS performance?
Improving SSIS performance involves applying best practices around memory usage, disk I/O, network traffic, and concurrency. Examples include reducing data type conversions, minimizing unnecessary calculations, buffering data, and batching queries. Using high-performance hardware and software components, such as solid-state drives, fast networks, and multi-core CPUs, can further boost performance.
And that's it for today's video. I hope this helps you in your preparation for your interview. Remember, practice makes perfect. So keep practicing these concepts and queries. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to leave your comments below. Until next time, keep learning and stay curious.